Most agency owners watching this right now have the exact same problem. They know what to do, they just can't get themselves to do it consistently. And I spent 20 years figuring out exactly why that happens and, more importantly, how to fix it. Hi, I'm Johannes, and I went from losing everything, 80K in debt, where I lost my business, my car, my flat, and of course my girlfriend, to multiple six figures and coaching hundreds of agency owners every single week. I've seen my clients go from 3K a month to 18K a week in 45 days, from 10K stuck for 9 months to 30K in 60 days, and from 18K to 50K in 90 days. Not by learning a new strategy, but by fixing what was running underneath. And in this video, I'm going to give you everything I've learned across 20 years. Let's get into it. Point number one, you were born with a natural success mindset until society removed it. What do I mean? Remember when you were like 4 or 5 years old and you learned to ride the bicycle. You fell 85 times, maybe even 150 times, maybe even you scraped a knee. But did you ever think, I don't know, maybe bicycle is not for me, or what will the neighbors think? Hell no, you went back up and you just kept on going. And then you played your first video games. I'm a little bit older, so I played Tetris and Super Mario with the first Game Boy. Can you imagine? I don't know, maybe you played Fortnite, GTA, or Counter-Strike. It doesn't fucking matter, but you died 100 times, then you respawned 100 times. But did you ever think, I don't know, maybe gaming is not for me? Fuck no, you just kept on going. And then what happened? You came into school, right? And then your parents told you, Johannes, don't be too big for your britches. Be realistic. Don't be a dreamer. Your teachers told you, do what I tell you. And systematically, society overrode your natural success mindset. But the interesting thing is, it's still there. It's just buried under all the code. But you can get it back. If you want to know how, there's a lot of videos on this channel where you can learn how. Point number two, your limiting beliefs are not yours. They were installed. I know these beliefs feel like truth to you because they have been running for years, and most of them were installed long before you were old enough to even question them. Like beliefs like, I don't know, I'm just not good enough, or like, I'm just not good at sales, or like, I don't know how to train people, I'm not expert enough. Right? These beliefs feel super real to you, but most of the time they have been installed 15 to 20 years ago by parents, teachers, or another authority figure. And they became you. Just because there happened something, they became your identity. And now you even defend them against other people. It's like, yeah, this is just, I'm just like this. However, this is bullshit because this has been installed, and everything that has been installed can be removed. And if you identify where the belief came from, that's the first step to deleting it. Point number three, strategies on top of a broken operating system will never work. Every star client I've ever worked with already know what to do. The gap is never knowledge. It is always execution. Let me tell you, like, for example, look, this book here, Think and Grow Rich. Millions of people read this book, but do we have now millions of more millionaires? No, there's some people like Russell Brunson that say like, yeah, I read this book and I became a millionaire. All right, cool. Then, speaking of Russell Brunson, right? This book here, 30 Days, what is it about? It's like he spoke to all his millionaire friends and asked them what they would do if they lose everything, and how they would basically build up their business again in 30 days. Pretty sure if you follow one of these things to the T, you're gonna make it, right? And then this one, everybody knows Mr. Alex Hormozi, all right? If you follow this book, or all his free books, $100 million offer, $100 million leads, if you follow that to the T, you're gonna make it, yes or yes, right? But why people are not making it? The information is everywhere, but what's missing is the execution. And why the execution is missing? Because you believe, I'm not like Alex. Or it's like Alex is telling you, no, go post every day on Instagram and LinkedIn. You're like, I don't know, I'm afraid of rejection. I don't know if I want to put myself out there. So you see, all the information helps you nothing if you don't execute. And you can imagine this like this. If you have this, what I call mental blockers, mental viruses, whatever you want to call it, right? This kind of stuff that tells you like, who am I to put myself out there, for example, right? As long as this is inside you, you can read all these books, collect all the information. It will help you nothing. It's the same thing like implementing the best software on a computer with a virus. Will the software work? No. No chance. So until the operating system is fixed, every new strategy will eventually fail. By the way, if you're an agency owner watching this and you want to find out exactly how you can scale your agency, then take the agency scaling quiz in the description. It is completely free and it will show you your unique path to scale. Point number 4, you don't have a discipline problem, you have an avoidance problem. Overcomplication is a protection mechanism, not a strategy. And the things you're avoiding are almost always the things that would move the needle. What do I mean with that? For example, I always tell my clients, right? If you are sending out 1,000 cold emails for yourself a day and you iterate basically every week, you check like, okay, this gives me a signal, this is good, and then maybe I exchange them. So you do this, right? And you continue doing this and you never stop and you just continue doing this. Then you are sending out 20 connection requests to your ICP on LinkedIn. You start conversations with everybody that takes your connection request and you start human connections basically on human conversations, right? And then you're posting like 4 or 5 times on LinkedIn every week, okay? And you're not making 10K in 6 months. I coach you for free. And I mean it. If you do that and you're out there and you tell me, Johannes, I did this for 6 months, you come to me and you're not doing 10K, I'm coaching you for free. I mean it earnestly, but you need to show me that you really did it. Because the thing is, this business is simple, but you are overcomplicating it. You know why you do it? Because you're afraid to do the simple things. You know why? Because they're uncomfortable. It's like, oh my God, it's cringe to send out a cold DM to people. I rather build in the backend systems and I'm building up my Notion flow and I'm building up like automations and workflows and funnels and all that stuff before I talk to people, right? That's the thing. I can show you an example of one of my clients that can tell you exactly what this is about.
I mean, before joining Limitless Reward, I would say for me and for a lot of people I may be speaking to about this, but I was stuck in an invisible loop, kind of, where I was just like overcomplicating everything. And I wasn't sure where that overcomplication came from. So what this would look like is I tell myself, like, I had to build more systems. I had to focus on operations within the business, and I had to perfect my service delivery and all of that stuff before like going after big clients. But deep down, like, I didn't realize that the problem was actually within me and not the systems I was building on Notion, Airtable, or whatever software you want to name. So yeah, for me it was avoidance before joining Limitless Reward, avoidance of the actual problem. And personally for me, I knew I should be doing more outbound. I knew I should show up publicly and lean into actually positioning myself as an expert, but I, for some reason, kept holding back on that. And I, for example, just to give you a fair presentation, like I would open my laptop, like with the intention to send DMs, send more cold emails, post on LinkedIn, post on YouTube, do all of that. But somehow I would end up tweaking my Notion page, tweaking my ClickUp page, responding to someone on Slack. So I was never doing what I was supposed to do. So that was my situation before Limitless Reward.
So what do you say? Sounds familiar? If this sounds familiar, leave me a comment under this video. Point number 5. Your identity sets your ceiling. If you do not see yourself as someone who does 50K a month, you will never do 50K a month. Yeah, have you ever heard about the be, do, have framework, right? Normally people always think like, yo, I want to have this, so that's why I need to do this. And for this, maybe I need to be like that. However, you need to basically switch it totally around. You need to first of all understand, who do I need to be? Which kind of identity I need to have to make this happen, right? And that's the thing. Most people set the goal, but never really upgrade their identity. What do I mean of that? I'm going to give you a personal example. When I started out with my cold email agency, I quickly went to 20K a month. Okay. And then I was just stuck at 20K a month. Whatever I did, I lost a client there. Like I even went sick. Then I don't know, I got a client, I lost a client. It was crazy. I was like, what the fuck is happening? I don't understand. And until I read a post on LinkedIn where somebody wrote about the financial thermometer. Have you ever heard about that? It basically explains like when broke people win the lottery, they're most of the time, and they made studies about this, broke again after 3 years max. Why? Because the identity has not been ready for all that money. And that's why basically they self-sabotaged everything until they came back to what was familiar to them. And that's exactly how it works. So I was like, why I'm not doing this? And then I realized, okay, always I live in Marbella, right? And like I see all these Lamborghini Uros and G-Wagon and all that thing. And the first thought in my mind always was gangster. And I was like, why I'm having that. Like, if I think like this is evil, I'll never become rich. And I was like, okay, my mom always said rich people are evil. So I took myself a money coach, worked on this for a few months, and then quickly, boom, I scaled to 35K in the next 2 months. Right? Why? Because I upgraded my identity. I understood there's something in me that stops me from getting there. Do you understand that? So that's why also the first part of my course is always everything about money beliefs. Because if you don't fix your money beliefs, you're never gonna make 50K a month. Point number 6, AI is amplifying whoever you are, good or broken. I always say, if you have been executing before AI, now you're executing faster. There's a lot of these big agency guys out there, they're pushing one thing after the other. They execute, okay? But if you have been an overthinker before, you may be now more stuck than ever. Why? Because AI gives you more options, more tools, more workflows, more automations, and all that stuff. So the problem is, if you have more things to choose from, the brain is not getting faster, it's getting slower, right? And a broken operator that like doesn't know how to execute is now more stuck than ever because it's overthinking, overanalyzing everything. And I see so many of you out there, you building stuff, improving, doing, but never shipping nothing. Wasting, like not wasting, whatever you want to call it, but being stuck in cloud code for like 3 months without sending one call DM, without doing one outreach, just building the one thing that's going to change everything. Why? Because you're afraid to do the uncomfortable things. Tell you one more time, but that's what it's about. So if you are not good at executing, that's the number one thing that you need to learn. And I tell you another thing. Now, with AI, everybody can do everything. You don't need to learn strategies, skills. You actually don't need to learn it anymore for nothing. Like, that doesn't matter. Everybody has exactly the same tool. There's a person that has exactly the same tool that makes 100K a month, and there's another person that has exactly the same tool and is stuck for 6 months. What's the difference? The operator. Point number 7, keeping your word to yourself, or like I like to call it, being impeccable with your word. When I started 75 Hard, like with a group in Agency Velocity 2 years ago, we started with 14 people, all right? After 30 days, we were 3. What does it mean? 75 Hard, if you don't know that, I have a video also on my channel. You can check it out, but basically it's about 5 rules. Very simple. The first thing is like keep a diet, okay? It can be every diet that you want. It doesn't really matter. But like I just took like high carb, high protein, low carb, okay? And then the second thing is like you have to drink 4 liters of water, like a gallon, which is not easy to be honest, but yeah, it's doable. But it shouldn't be easy. That's not the point of it, right? Then the next thing is like you have to do 2 exercises a day. One has to be outside. Can be rain, can be minus 20 degrees, can be 40 degrees hot. It doesn't matter. It has to be outside because again, it should be hard, right? That's what's called 75 hard, not 75 easy, right? And then you have to read 10 pages of personal development. And then in the end, you have to make a progress picture. Sounds easy, but yeah, it's easy, but it's still hard. So the thing is, like, most of the people could not do it. They said, I'm gonna do this, and they were excited, but most of the people broke it up after not even 1 month. They broke the word to themselves. And that's the thing. And being impeccable with your word is such an important thing in today's world. If you're an entrepreneur and you can be impeccable with your word, not just to other people, obviously to other people as well, to your clients, to your partner, to everybody, right? But specifically to yourself. What do I mean with that? Let me give you a short example. Imagine you met a really hot girl, right? And like you met her maybe over an app, whatever, Tinder, Bumble, doesn't really matter, okay? And then you will be right here. I was like, okay, I'm going to pick you up today, 7:30. I'm picking you up from your flat, all right? And 7:30, you're not there. 8, you're not there. 8:15, you're not there. 8:30, you're not there. And you're even writing nothing because whatever. Maybe you fell asleep or some shit like this. I mean, you should not do that, but let's just say that. Okay, what the girl will do, will the girl build trust with you? No, you directly from the start destroy the trust, okay? And if you do this another time, then it's going to block you forever. So trust broken, that's it, right? So now what about you and yourself? You saying, Monday I'm going to the gym. Cool, and you're not going to the gym. Next Monday, I'm like, this Monday I'm going to the gym. You're not going to the gym. What's going to happen with the trust that you have with yourself? It's broken, my friend. It's broken. And that exactly is the problem. Be impeccable with your word, specifically to yourself. Point number 8. Visibility is not vanity, it's leverage. I see it everywhere, and it's something that I call the visibility virus, specifically with agency owners. You guys are so scared to show yourselves. So many of you. That's why you love to standing behind this thing, writing your cold emails. You know what I mean? And just standing behind that. On the sales calls, then it comes out because like this is you cannot really like automate, right? That's the problem. But I see it everywhere. Like you're afraid to post on LinkedIn. You're afraid to open your YouTube channels. You are like scared of rejection. And that's why you never really build a personal brand. Okay, you always look up to the Hormozes and Sabrisuvis and you're like, oh, they're great, I want to be like them. But the problem is you have the feeling somehow the visibility equals danger for you, and you're afraid to get charged. And the problem is if you want to build a brand, okay, if you want to be a big entrepreneur, then this is something that you should fix. And this is again something, if you have the feeling that this is something that is a problem for you, then you should really think about doing some deep work and understanding where does it come from, because you can fix it. I have fixed this with a lot of my clients. Noah, for example, one of my clients was stuck at 4K and he was always a little bit timid to go out there. We fixed that thing, 29K, 90 days. Boom.
I've grown the agency. I've signed over 30 clients. We have over $30,000 in monthly recurring revenue, and I have built up a team of 4. Now, without Jonas's course, without debugging the mind, I'm not sure where I would be, but I know where I am now today. And that was the biggest mental unlock for my agency itself and for myself.
Visibility is not about ego. It is about attracting the right clients. The fear of public judgment is a learned program, not the personality trait. Point number 9. Stop treating symptoms and find the root. Most people try to fix themselves with sporadic approaches, right? And obviously sporadic approaches create temporary results. I always explain it like this. Imagine you are going to the gym. I always like to use the gym as an analogy because it just fits. I think a lot of you guys hopefully going to the gym, right? So now you're going, I don't know, you go once, like the first week you're going 2-3 times, okay? Then the next week you're going only maybe 2 times a week. Then you're not going for a week. Then you're not going maybe for, then you're going again once, and then you're not going for another 2 weeks. You know, how will your gains look like? You will get a lot of gains? Freaking doubt it, right? So like, what about if you do a systematic approach, right? Where you get the personal trainer, and the personal trainer gives you like a 4 months program, all right? And you know exactly what to do every day. And he's busy even observing what you're doing. What your gains will then be. Freaking hell, man. Like, that's a massive difference, right? So now the approach that you guys are doing with this kind of, what do you call mindset work, is like you read a book from there to there. All right, I read Think and Grow Rich this year, and I maybe read a few others, right? But what did I do in the other time? Did I really do something for my mind? Did I do something to improve this? That is the foundation of everything. Is my approach systematic? Or is my approach totally sporadic? And that's why I'm not really getting results. The thing is, if you really want to get results, you need to understand the root cause is always beliefs that has been installed most of the time years, decades ago. That's the stuff that is stopping you from going to the next level. And if you really want to have a change, this is where you need to work on, my friend. Point number 10. Every day is you versus you. Every morning when you wake up from the alarm clock links, it's the first time like bing, it starts to be you versus you. When you slumber, you already lose the first battle. That's why so many people and a lot of the big coaches, they do like the cold exposure first thing in the morning. They go in this cold thing, boom. Why? Because they win the first battle. I'm taking cold showers. But like, right. So basically, this is what you need to do. And then after, for example, you go outside, right? So you go for a walk, like it's amazing for the circadian rhythm. And I just love it because I have amazing ideas when I go on my walk. Then you go to the gym, you win battle after battle after battle. And that's what it's all about. It's all about becoming the master of your own mind. And don't listen to the bitch voice, like I want to call it, because the bitch voice is telling you, oh no, today's raining. Oh no, today's windy. Or maybe we should sleep a little bit longer. You lose the battle against the bitch voice, you lose your life, my friend. So the voice telling you to delay is the same voice that will keep you stuck at the same number. The more you win the internal battle, the stronger the operator becomes. Every single one of those lessons comes back to the same thing. It is never a strategy problem. It is always an operator problem. And the faster you accept that, the faster everything changes. Now, here's what I want you to do. every single person watching this has a different path to scaling. What works for one agency owner does not automatically work for the next because the bottleneck is different. This is exactly why I built the agency scaling quiz. You take it and it shows you your unique path to scaling based on how you naturally operate as a founder. So check the first link in the description to take the quiz completely for free. And if you want to see how one of my clients finally understood this, made one shift and literally tripled his revenue, watch the video on the screen next. See you there.